Hi everybody. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Bounce Curl Define Edge Lift Brush, and the brush handle is made with bio-based, and then it just says PLA. I have no idea what that is. First of all, that's So at this moment in time, we're not quite sure what happened, but my assistant accidentally pressed the slow-mo button. So I'm just gonna talk over this. So that was a view of the brush, and then I'm just unboxing the brush. This is too funny, I can't get over it. And what I was trying to tell you in the video is that the design looks nice and that there's a hole, that's where my schmarmy face is coming from, a hole inside the brush that actually keeps it ventilated from mildew and mold. Which is really, really nice. And I really like the ridges that are all the way around, just in general. But today I'm actually going to combine this review with something that I've been meaning to do for a while, which is a testimony. So I have a lot of testimonies I'm going to share on this channel, but I'm going to start with one that I personally have where an angel actually saved me from getting in a life-threatening car crash. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss that with you guys. And just so that you know, whenever I hold the product up, that's why I have it on the screen, so that way I don't have to announce it every time it comes on, so I can just go ahead and give you the story. So here's the download. So this was back in, I think, 2021. Let me set the stage, okay? I'm in college. I think I'm all that in a bag of chips, 95 cents, whatever the catchphrases are, okay? All the above, this, that, the other, and the fourth. I think I really am all that. And my overconfidence with driving let's just say it was hit the curb and pray. It was very strong. I really felt like nobody could tell me anything whatsoever when it came to driving. So long story short, I got into many accidents. When I was 18, well, let's just start here. When I was 16, I got into an accident where I literally drove my car, totaled it by driving it right into a creek. I drove over, it was almost like kind of like a bridge, but not. It's really hard to describe. And when that happened, I blacked out. And then when I kind of reopened, or not even blacked out, it's really hard to describe. That's a story for another time. Essentially, the car went completely black. I think it was spiritual. And then I opened my eyes and I was hovering like 3 feet above the ditch. I was caught in between like two rock walls. That's a whole other story. But yeah, I got in that accident and totaled my car, and God completely saved me. It's another story for another time. When I was 16, that was when I was 18. And then when I was 16, I also got into a car accident where I like completely totaled my dad's Toyota Camry. It was brand new. It was a very depressing day. And yeah, the reason why was I was Snapchat texting. So, and I totaled that car. So that's pretty disgusting. Yeah, that I had a bad track record. And then when I was 17, I hit our garage door and completely dented it. And that's because my shoelace got caught underneath the gas or the brake pedal, one of the two. And so I just had like 85,000 different problems with driving cars. I honestly should have had my license revoked. By the grace of God, I was allowed to keep it. Okay, so I just had a huge problem with driving. Like, that is my story. Okay, so it was not very good. That being said, so I had a huge problem with driving in general. And then like when I was 20, I was driving to church one evening and I got over in one lane and a semi truck hit me going 80 plus miles per hour from the back and shot me off the interstate. Totaled that car, but by the grace of God, yet again, I was completely unharmed. So at this point, if you're keeping up, okay, we can make this like a espresso shot drinking game here, because at this point, if you're keeping up, that is 3 separate totaled cars. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 3, okay? So I was pretty traumatized. And then when I was 21, I was driving and then, by the way, that last total car was my dad's work SUV. So that was really cute, really demure, very, very mindful. And then when I was 21, I accidentally hit this old dude's truck. And let's just say right now, like, he had a busted truck. Okay, this guy was like really taking it way too seriously. I'm like, sir, your truck is from the dinosaur era. Like, I really don't understand what the problem is here. It looks busted. but whatever. So I dented his bumper a little bit, and he pretty much made me pay like $1,000 to get it fixed. And of course, it was not me paying because I was in college and had no money at the time. And so my parents paid, and they weren't very happy about that. And the guy was extremely persistent. So you can see I had like so much trauma concerning cars, and pretty much never wanted to drive after that. But unfortunately, I did have to drive again. In my dad's work SUV this time to go to a trip to the grocery store, and nobody else could do it. And it started snowing on my way back. Now, here's what you need to understand. I was already not feeling very good. I was kind of out of it. I was in my own little world. I was going through a lot at the time because this guy who I really liked me back. But then I had a dream where God pretty much told me that he couldn't be my husband. And that's a whole other story for another time. So then I had to tell him that we couldn't be together, and then pretty much had to like cut him off, sadly, because that was the only way that he would be with his now wife, and they did get married and have a child. So I knew it was God, but that's a whole other story for another time. So I was pretty distracted at the time. Like, I just really did not have my head in the game, right? And I already have a bad track record with driving. Like, it's just not what it's supposed to be. Also, let me pause right here and just let you know, at this point in the video, I am practicing with the edge brush, and I think I probably should have gotten closer to the roots, but what I am trying to do is get a lot of tension in the brush and just drag it through, and then curl it at the end, because that's what I saw everybody do in the other videos that I watched where they tried it out. But I do now, looking at this, I think I could have gotten closer to the root to get more volume, so that is one thing that I might be trying again. Maybe I'll revisit this review, I don't know. Anyway, back to the story. So my head was just like not in the game, okay? I'm driving back, and it's just like bumper to bumper traffic. I mean, it's really bad. And then all of a sudden it starts snowing, and I live in the South, so that's not very common. And I'm just like, okay, wow, it's literally snowing, and it's like coming down. So my windows are up. Everybody else's windows are up. It's bitterly cold. Mind you, it's like 20 something degrees. And I'm just in la la land. I'm like literally playing music at some point, and then I think I turn it down or I turn it off, or I don't even remember what I was doing because I was just not paying attention. And there was a really fancy SUV in front of me. Now, before I move on to the next part of the story, it's very important that you know, because I think this will encourage some of you, that I was asking God for more supernatural experiences. Like, it was really deep in my heart to actually get an experience where I could hear either the audible voice of God or see an angel or any of those things. Like, it really was deeply ingrained in my spirit. So I was also like going through the whole baptism in the Holy Spirit thing. Like, I had recently just been like baptized by fire, learning how to speak in tongues. Like, and by learning, I mean like Holy Spirit teaching me, like not me looking up one of those wacky like little tutorials on YouTube where it's like, repeat after me. Like, I didn't do any of that, okay? But I just really was on my Holy Spirit journey. I mean, I still am to this day. Everybody is, but you know what I mean. So I have been really begging out for these experiences. And I think some of you need to hear that, because a lot of people really want to see the more of God, but then they actually don't go out and seek it, and they're not earnestly begging. And I'm not going to lie to you, this recent season of life that I've been in, I haven't been earnestly seeking supernatural moves. And even me telling the story is a reminder that I need to do that. But I don't want anybody to be discouraged. Like, right now in your life, if you've even been waiting for years, which is what honestly I've been waiting for most of my life for something like this to happen, to have like a supernatural move of God and to feel like God really is real and God really is there. I hope this encourages you, because keep pressing on, keep going. I did, and God showed up in a super miraculous way. Like, to this day, I can't believe it. So I just want to preface with that. Okay, so back to the story. So the car in front of me, I don't remember what brand it was. I do remember it just being very like an expensive car. It was like an SUV. The people inside it were like rich white people. So like I knew, and they were older too. So I knew, you know, they had money, things of that nature. But again, was not paying attention. And as the snow keeps piling, like, it's just a lot easier to not press your brakes, right? Because things just kind of slide and whatnot. And so I'm not paying attention whatsoever. I'm deep in thought. I'm like, wow, like, what if that was the one that got away? Like, what if that man really is my husband? You know, blah, 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 right? And as I'm thinking about this, I just completely take my foot off all the pedals, and I'm dazed out, and I hear an audible voice, And I remember specifically to this day, like where it was like located at the top right of the roof of my car. And it was piercing clear as day. There's no way it came from outside. It was like someone was sitting right next to me. Mind you, again, it's snowing. It's super cold. We're in the South. Everyone's windows are up. And I was also playing music. Now I remember I was playing music. And I hear a voice shout at me, "Hey!" like that. And I all of a sudden looked up in the nick of time and I freaking pound those brakes. And literally, I kid you not, was a literal hair. Like it almost looked like I did hit them away from hitting that car. And to this day, I still think about that. I've never had an experience like that ever again. I have heard of other people having similar experiences where something like yelled at them, but I'm not kidding. It was an audible voice. It yelled at me. And here's the other thing I think is really interesting about the supernatural realm. Like, I don't really know what biblical evidence there is to support this. So I don't really need the heretic hunters coming after me for this. Cause again, I'm admitting I don't really know what the support is for this, but it is speculation that like, I feel like there's like a fabric or like the veil there's like an actual veil for the spiritual realm that like angelic and demonic beings can kind of like rip through and they poke through in a certain place. And why I'm saying that is because the area that was right above my head, like to the top right corner, like literally it felt like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just not a normal sound. It was like, it was just only coming from this one little spot. Like usually when you turn your head, you're like, where's that sound coming from? Like look right, look left, is it a bird? Is it a plane? Oh, it's Superman. Like, like you're able to kind of look around. But with this, I was literally like, it was that I like could grab the audio, if that makes sense. And I freaking lost my mind in the best way possible and ran and told everybody, as you should, and was praising God, praising Jesus, because do we have any idea what would have happened? I was at such a low point in my life. Like I really did not need another car thing. Plus, if they were rich white people in the South, that's 50-50. They can either be Jesus lovers, kindest people on earth, or they can be stuck up snots who will hunt you down and just sue you for all you're worth. So that was a win, and that is my story. I'm going to go ahead and get back to the review now, but thanks for listening.
Tell me when. Now?
It's on.
Okay, so I just blew out my hair. Well, not blew out, blow dried it. You can see it from the back. I do think, and I'll go ahead and put a photo of what my hair looks like in its normal routine right here, so you can compare them. I do think a couple things. I do think it kind of works. I don't think it like doesn't work, but I think it adds more frizz for sure, which is ironic because I don't feel like it adds that much volume up here, so those are just like two of the negatives. But beyond that, I mean, I do think it works. Do you think it works, Tati?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's my system, by the way. I do think it works. I think the definition, it does do a good job. It's just like hard to get over this frizz right here. Like that is like really driving me nuts, But I think like if you just look throughout the hair, like what is noticeable is like each curl, and first of all, it gave me some spirals on parts of my head that usually don't get spirals at this length, so that was nice. Like if you see the other side, and like obviously it's really easy to get my layered framing pieces because these pieces are shorter, so it's easier for them to be like that. But yeah, I mean, you can tell it shrunk more than it has other things. But yeah, it's just like the top is kind of flat, so I don't really love that. Let me give it another fluff. Sometimes you just have to really go to town. Let me see. I mean, like, it's a little bit better when I do that. This will kind of flat. But besides that, I mean, I think it's good. I will say, so some pros. Okay, we'll do pros and cons. I'll put pros on this side and cons on this side. So some pros, it doesn't hurt like a Denman brush does when you like, if you have a sensitive head like me and you're like trying to get definition, it doesn't hurt. Number two, it does like really help combine all the product, just in case your normal detangling brush doesn't work, so that's nice. It does, and it does give some definition, like it does. I think if you have coils, like if you're like 4A, 4B, 4C, I think this is definitely something you have to buy because I can totally see that the clumping that it does would really work to help keep your hair in a similar cast before you scrunch it after blow drying. But if you're like me and you have waves and loose curls, do you have to get this brush? I don't think so. I think it's good, but it's $30, so it's like, you know? So yeah, so the pros, that's what I would say on the pro side. On the con, oh, and okay, another pro, cute colors. And it does have a little dividing section, so I will add that as a pro. I think that's really good. Oh, and I guess also the handle you could use for spiralizing, although I don't think it's probably as good of a spiralizer. I'm talking about like when you wind it up in the brush as the Denman. Stay right here. So the Denman, as you can see, it has that like slimmer neck if you look at them on the side. So I think it's easier to wrap hair around this, but you could still do that with this. So that is something else to consider. Okay, back to the pros and cons. So pros over here, cons. And then the cons, I would say, I think it's too expensive for what it does. Yeah. Number two, I kind of feel like it leaves your hair more frizzy, which I don't love. And you guys saw I put a metric ton, okay, of hair products in my head. So it's not like I'm like light on the frizz, you know, protection. I mean, here I have so many different things. This protects against frizz. This certainly protects against frizz. It's like one of the best things. I mean, it's literally got intense smooth serum frizz control on it. This also helps with frizz. And obviously this one out of all of them is like, this will stop frizz in a heartbeat. So I do have a lot of anti-frizz products. So the fact that it's kind of driving me nuts. Got a little bit of frizz right here. I can honestly see, and I'm not speaking this over my hair, okay? But I could kind of see maybe this getting more tangled right here when it has that frizz, because those little hairs just catch on each other. So yeah, the frizz, the price, and I will also say I do think it's a bit bulky. I think it's a bit bulky. I wish that there was a way to make it a little bit smaller, but that's not really like a huge con, you know? So yeah, that being said, my general conclusion is you don't need this brush. I don't think it's going to create like crazy more spirals. Although one more pro is that I do think it's a lot easier and more convenient than the Denman to get a variety of hair texture curls. So with the Denman, I usually have to do half the Denman on top, like with the curl training, spiraling, and then the bottom I usually do tension and then rake and shake, and then I get like that kind of like half spiral, half curly, and it creates more volume. With this, I will say it just kind of like is specialized to your hair's like natural predisposition, like natural way that it wants to be. So you do get like a lot more of a natural sort of diversity of the hair, you know? So I will say that too. So there's some pros, there's some cons. I don't think you need it. If you have $30 to blow and you just want it and you think that this look is worth it, if you think even having a few extra spirals and you think, you know, little frizz doesn't bother you, then yeah, I would get it. So, but this is just the classic. Maybe the volume boost is better. But yeah, I'm gonna give this product, you know, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's good. I just don't think I necessarily need it when I have the Denman, if that makes sense. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful for everybody watching. Stay blessed. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul. And Tati, do you have any words of encouragement for us?
Stay curly.
Stay curly, babe.